Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hocus Pocus and this is Let's Play Minecraft episode 14. If you're with me for the last one, episode 13, you will recognize immediately our current location. So in the last episode, we built ourselves a nice mob farm. You can see it above me there and it's producing great results. And you already may notice as well, as I say once again, if you're with me for the last episode, you may notice that things have changed around here. So We've made a few alterations. Things are definitely a little bit different here. So for those of you that were unable to tell the difference or haven't seen the last episode, then you may not have noticed that we actually switched out the andesite, which was here for hoppers. So now the mob farm is totally AFKable. The hoppers here are collecting drops automatically. The mobs fall down here and die immediately. And then of course their drops are hoovered up and sent to one of 4 locations, and that is dependent on where they land. So if I swim underneath the hoppers, you can kind of see that they're chained in a way that we have 4 main collection areas. So this side of the farm, the hoppers will take items in this direction and eventually all the way into this hopper. And then if we go past this area, you can see that on this side, the hoppers kind of go in this direction and will eventually lead to their final location inside of this hopper here, so on and so forth for each of the 4 sides. So this may not be the final design, but for now it works. It means that we can collect ourselves the drops and we have access to everything that this farm produces. And before we go any further with this episode, I just want to quickly take some time to say thank you to you guys. The comments, the likes, the feedback, everything that you guys have been providing for me recently has been awesome. And I love the interaction that we keep having with these episodes. So please do keep that up. And we are very, very close to hitting 2,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you're new to the channel, if this is your first time on the Hocus Pocus channel, then firstly, welcome. How you doing? How's it going? Let me know in the comments down below. Please consider subscribing. And of course, drop a like on the video right now, guys. Drop it down below right now, please. And then, of course, comments are always welcome. And I actually do encourage them. So even if you just want to say something as simple as hi, make sure you do that right now after leaving the like. And of course, after subscribing if you are new. Let's carry on with today's video. Okay then, guys. So as for today's episode and the plans that we have for it, I want to begin here by doing a little bit extra work here at the mob farm. And then once we're done here, we'll move on to something else, which will most likely be a sugarcane farm today. So what I'm looking to do is just to outline a plan for what we've got going on here. So far we've got something like this. So inside of the mob farm, we've got an area of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks. I'm trying to replicate that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we'll do another diagonal of the same length. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Take out the outside blocks like so. We don't need those. We just need the diagonal. And then let's complete the square here. And the completion of the square leaves us with something like this. So you might actually refer to this as a diamond since we're working on the diagonal, but whatever way you like to refer to it as doesn't really matter in my opinion. So what we're aiming to do here is to create an area the same size as the spawning platforms up here, but of course on the other side of the hopper system that we've got going on. And I mentioned in the last episode that maybe we'd look to expand this mob farm and have a possible 5 spawning areas in total. And what I mean by a spawning area is one of these towers. So maybe 5 of these towers all together, and you can toggle each of them individually or all of them together. So you can either toggle the farms individually or toggle them all together so that they can function in unison, or 3 of them at a time, 4 of them at a time, however we need to have it done. And then all of them combined will just produce a mass of drops. I mean, can you guys imagine? From this farm alone, I think I AFK'd here for about, I don't know, 5 minutes to get these items. So can you imagine what this farm would produce if we were running 5 of these things at the same time? Well, I know one thing it'll produce, and that's a huge amount of lag, but I'm willing to accept the amount of lag that it will produce for the amount of items it will output, because I can't see that we'll have to run this thing for very long in order for us to, you know, get a lot out of it. So it might be very beneficial to us. Now, guys, you're going to have to use your imagination for this part. So we've got the other 4 areas marked out. So you can see we've got the central one, which is already complete. And then we'll have 4 extra mob farms on the outside. And as I say, use your imagination. You'll just have to think about an image where we have 5 of these things in the sky and a huge roof over the top of all of it. And there'll be one here, one behind it, one to the right hand side, and then one above where I'm standing right now. And then the hoppers will also expand around the outside of each of these platforms. And then, as I said, I wanted to create some sort of base system around here. So I'm guessing that beneath the water, we'll just have an area for a centralized collection system. We'll have some sort of crafting interface down there. And by interface, I, of course, mean a trusty little crafting table like so. There isn't any sort of crafting interface as such, I guess. Well, you know what? That's a lie, because this is the crafting interface. The GUI right here is the crafting interface. But I made it sound a lot more interesting than it is. That was my point. Anyway, that is a bit of a diversion. But in this base area, we'll just have all of the amenities that we need to survive out here for as long as we want to be here. And then, of course, up there we'll have the AFK spot. The AFK spot will be above the central mob farm, which means that we can stand up there and have all 5 function in unison very efficiently. And all in all, I think that this, well, I mean, even with this middle setup, we're probably never going to run out of mob drops easily. But can you imagine with 5? You guys, with 5, I almost guarantee that we will never, ever need mob drops again, apart from a witch farm. Witches don't spawn too often, but that's it. Aside from that, we're going to be good to go. All right, guys, so we are in pre-release 5 today, so there are still some bugs that need to be ironed out. And I was just harvesting some crops here because I'm going to go feed the cows. And check this out, right? Check this out. I'm going to walk onto these blocks here, and I'm going to let go of the keyboard and mouse. One more time. I promise you guys, I'm not touching anything. You can kind of see, like, if I was to move myself, it's a lot faster. But if I go on there and just let everything go, I kind of just slowly drop into the water. It's almost like I'm being pushed by an invisible water stream or something. And I can't actually force myself against it. I'm running right now, but not moving. You guys can clearly see that. That is so strange. That is very strange. I'm going to relog. I'm going to relog and see if that fixes it. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Here we go. Loading the world back up. And no, didn't fix it. Very interesting. But the rest of the farm seems to be in good shape. Oh, well. Hopefully that's fixed before the full release, because I don't really want to have these blocks bugged for good. That would be a little bit strange, wouldn't it? Turns out, you guys, turns out it happens on this side as well. So we were just over there, and now we're over here, and the same thing is happening. The tilled soil that is closest to the water just seems to force you off. I wonder if this is being reported. I might check that out in just a second, just to make sure. Just to make sure. One final thing, guys, here. As I feed the cows and do a few other maintenance bits. As for the huge mob farm build, the super mob farm, whatever we're going to call it, that will be a project that we work on over time. It's going to be a bit of a grind, right? Because it's a large build. Oh, hello. 1 second. Let me concentrate. Need to kill our boy Creeper. Leave me alone. And he's done. Okay, as I was saying, that is going to be something that we probably deal with, I would say mostly off camera, just because you guys have seen me build one. You really don't need to see me build another one, right? And it's going to take a lot of work. I don't want to have multiple episodes in a row where we're kind of doing the same thing over and over again, trying to get that thing built. So maybe if we get some streams going sooner or later, then we'll do the work on stream. Or maybe just off camera whenever I get chance. But as I say, that thing is going to be a project that we kind of work on over time. And then once we have the mob farms in place, or we are in a position to start building the sort of base structure that I want to have over there, we'll work on that on camera for sure, because that will be a little bit more interesting. Something slightly different. Just as a heads up, pretty much. So that's going to be it for the fooling around for this episode, guys. As I said, we're going to be working on what I hope to set up is a sugarcane farm. I don't really have any plans for it just yet, but we're going to look into that, and then that will allow us to have pretty much infinite access to rockets, so that we can keep wearing our elytra, have a bit more dynamism, I guess is the word, dynamism in our movement, so that we don't have to walk everywhere, because I have been wearing the chest plate for a while. And of course, I want to get the flappy things on and fly around this world without worrying about running out of rockets. Okay then, guys, with all of the messing around out of the way for today's episode, it is time to move on to the sugarcane farm. And I'm currently scouting for prime real estate, but I think I've found the perfect location. So hear me out for just a second. Let's try and land in this tree here and climb to the very tip top. So base is right there. Sugarcane farm will be somewhere in the region. I meant to say tree farm is right there. Don't get ahead of yourself, Hocus. Don't get ahead of yourself. Then, of course, in that direction, we've got our mob farm, which is going to be turning into something pretty epic, I hope. And then if you travel in that direction, beyond the fog there, you will get to our Haste 2 mining beacon. So I'm thinking the perfect location is actually this island here. Right, if we go take a look at it, I just saw the wandering trader over there. I don't know if you guys caught that. I think he's spawned in. If we head over to the island, you can see that it's relatively flat. And even the areas that aren't flat are going to be simple to make flat. There you go. Look, that was nice and easy, right? It's flat, it's large, it's open. It sits right in the middle of everything we've got going on. Slap bang in the middle of everything we've got going on. And of course, what more could you want than a nice tranquil river around the outside? Just for aesthetics. Just to make it peaceful, because sugarcane farms should be peaceful, right, guys? You shouldn't feel under threat whilst using them. You should always be at peace using your sugarcane farm. So I can't think of a more perfect location, if I'm totally honest. That is going to mean, sadly, that the temporary wheat farm we've got here is going to have to go, as well as a bunch of these trees. And you guys know you know how I feel about the environment in Minecraft. I feel the same way about the environment in real life, guys. By the way, I don't just care about video game environments. We need to save the planet one way or another. We've got to save it. We've also got to save the Minecraft planet. So I'm gonna that darn bug. Wait, does it happen if we're on this block? No, it's tilled soil, right? Tilled soil is the issue. So what we're gonna do is basically just flatten out the area, take down any obstacles that are in our way, pretty much just the trees. And then I'm going to map out what we're going to do. And I'm thinking design-wise, we're just going to go with a similar design to the old LP world. I don't know if you guys were here for that, but it was a big rectangle of leaves. And then inside of the leaves, you had, of course, the sugarcane farm growing. And it was harvested via a flying machine, which I always thought was a really, really neat idea. And it makes things very easy. Then underneath the farm itself, we actually had minecarts that sort of spun around the area, collecting all of the drops. And then they were all transported to a central location using water streams, droppers, and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to go for. Let me clean up here. I might also go grab some shears so that we can get some leaf blocks. Maybe use those again. That did look pretty cool. And then we'll get down to the building process. Just like that, we've got ourselves a nice big flat open area, no obstacles, or very little obstacle anyway. These flowers could maybe be moved. Again, as I say, I haven't really figured out the dimensions and placement of this thing yet, but we do have a double chest here with some useful resources, namely oak leaves. Now, I'm going to outline the farm in the oak leaves, but this isn't necessarily what it's going to be built out of. In the end, we just need to, pretty much get an idea of how big this thing's going to be. So I think I want it to be roughly 15 wide. I was going to go with. Let's see if we can get that sorted out down here. So maybe the middle will be around here. Then we'll go out by 7. And then this will be the beginning of the wall. So it will end there. And then same on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the wall will finish here. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Slight change of plan, you guys, and I'll explain that in just a second. You can probably identify immediately that things have scaled up just slightly. So in Minecraft, as you guys probably know, and I've already mentioned that we're going to be using flying machines for this, the maximum size of said flying machines is 20 blocks. So I figured, why not just go ahead and do the entire 20 blocks, right? So we've got a 20 block width. And I haven't actually measured the length, and that might be something worth doing because, of course, this farm does have to be quite specific in terms of length, and I'll explain why in just a second. But we are going to have to terraform slightly here to fit everything in, so dirt is definitely going to be a hot commodity at the moment. But here we go. Let me try and give you an explanation as to why this needs to be a certain length. So what we'll have is we'll have the flying machine at the back of the farm here or on that side. It doesn't really matter. I'll figure that out at the end. Probably that side just for ease of access. And then, of course, we'll have our very first row of sugarcane right here. Okay, so that means that we need water right here. So this patch here will be entirely filled with water. Then we can have 2 sugarcane here, so 1 there, 1 there. And then again, that means this one has to be water. And so on and so forth. So you can see it does actually have to be a certain width so that we can make sure that we can fit the water and a good amount of sugarcane in. So let me just dig out the trenches and match things up. I want to make sure that we have one row of sugarcane on this side of the farm, and then I want the farm to finish on a single row as well, so that things are looking nice and symmetrical. So let's continue as I say. So it'll be 1, 2, and then another trench. Okay then guys, we've got things nicely figured out. So we begin here with a single row, and then we have a regular 2-block gap between each of the trenches in between. And then finally on the following side, another single row of sugarcane to make things symmetrical. Now, you can tell immediately I didn't actually bother to create all of the trenches. And that's because there really isn't much point at the moment. We actually need to take up a lot of this dirt so that we can lay down the tracks for the collection system. Everything in this farm is going to be harvested via minecart, just because it's probably the most simple way to do things. All of the sugarcane will be pushed down to a uniform level, and then we can send carts underneath the farm to collect it all up, and from that point disperse it into a centralized location. So that will make things much easier for us. So I think we need to go down here. Let me think. So this is going to be the level the sugarcane grows on. We're going to need a gap underneath, and then the tracks will go there. So this will be the level of the tracks. Yeah, that'll be the level of the tracks. So we need to dig this out as well, because I'll probably replace that with a different block type. And then we can lay down the tracks, lay down the dirt, the water, everything in between. And from that point on, we should be good to build the flying machine and such. So let me do some digging. This is going to be off-camera work for sure. Don't want to bore you guys with it, so let's get it over and done with. It's time to take a small break from the building process here to gather up some supplies. So what I'm going to need is, for sure, redstone blocks. Something we've got in vast quantities, which is perfect. And then we're going to need a bunch of tracks as well, because of course the collection system is going to function via hopper minecart, so they will need a place to run. Otherwise they won't function, and that's exactly what we need them to do. So heading over to the storage room here, let us see what we've got in terms of iron. I think we've got quite a bit over here. We should do. Oh, I think we're down to our last 2 stacks of blocks. So we might need to consider an iron farm sometime soon, but for now, we'll hold off. We'll also do some powered rails, definitely. Let's just see what we'll get out of this. I'm not entirely sure if this will be enough, but we'll see what we get out of it, as I say. So let's break down some of this. Okay, all right, that's a decent amount. That's also a decent amount. All right, let's see what we can do with this amount for now. And then if we need more, of course, we can come craft that off camera. But I've got something I want to try as well, because that reminds me, we should probably head back over here real quick, because I need myself a trap door. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want this collection system to be set up, and if we can configure it slightly differently to last time, just to make it a little bit more compact. But we will see in just a second how that turns out. So guys, let's see if I can explain this dilemma that I'm having. So as you know, we need to have something a little bit like this. So we'll have an area here for the sugarcane to grow. We'll have blocks here with water on top, and that will be encased by another set of sugarcane growth platforms. So generally what you'd do is you'd have carts that run up and then back through this 2-wide gap. And of course you cannot intersect these blocks, because otherwise the water would fall down and flood the tracks, thus destroying them. So what I want to try to do is nope, Hocus, not stone bricks. I want to get a trapdoor on the bottom side of these blocks, like so. And then I'm going to just encase that in, because I want to do a quick test here. And then we're going to get ourselves a bucket of water. And we're just going to see if this works. So you see what I mean? Now, instead of having blocks underneath, we'll just simply have a trapdoor inside of that one block space, that prevents the water from falling through. Of course, it can be activated, so we do need to be careful about redstone in this area. But I think that means that we can pretty much then run the tracks in whichever direction we please, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. As I say, that should save us a lot of carts, and I think this would be fine. So if we had 10 carts, each of them running up and back along the length of the farm instead of the width, we should be good. I think we should be good. So this is going to take a lot of wood, which we do have access to, which is good. I don't think we'll need to harvest any, but it will deplete our supplies quite quickly. So let me go ahead and remove all of this stuff right here. We need to actually lay down the tracks first before we go ahead and start doing anything else. So let's just have a quick think about how that's going to go. Get rid of our stone brick here. All right. So our carts will start somewhere over here, and then they will begin their journey in this direction, come all of the way to the end of the farm. And of course, the entire time they're going along here, they will be picking up supplies, doing whatever they need to do. And then they'll come all of the way back. Whoops, all of the way back. And then once they make it back to the end here, we'll kind of just have them, I think, do something like that. And then, of course, this track will lead back like that. Maybe what we could do instead is this. Yeah, that seems to work. So I think the cart will go all the way up, all the way back, and then back into its original spot somewhere over there. Of course, we will refine this process. We need to make sure that we get in some powered rails to ensure that the cart makes its way around correctly and doesn't stop anywhere. But this will be the general principle. And then once we're done with that, of course, we can start laying down the trapdoors. So they will begin here. And then we'll have grass or dirt, whatever, here. Grow the sugar canes there, have water in the middle. And everything should be gravy. So let me get to work. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, that is for sure. And I will probably just skip most of this and do it off camera and just bring you guys back in for periodic updates. So expect this to be quite a quick finish to the build. Oh, that's looking kind of trippy. I don't know what this is going to look like to you guys, but on my screen, that looks kind of weird. I don't know if my eyes are just crazy, but do you see this part here? Are you seeing that illusion? Where the arcs are kind of expanding as I move? That's strange. Anyway, I just had a villager... A villager? Definitely not villagers. I wouldn't have been scared, but there was a pillager raid that came through. And I did what Hocus does best. I flew up into the sky, ran away from my problems, despawned them, and came back down to safety. Because I'm not falling for that again, you guys. I am not falling for that again. I do not want to be raided here anymore. Any more times than I already have been. Last time was a disaster. I still have trees that are just half missing. I don't want it again, guys. So as I say, yeah, if you have any problems in life, just run away. That's exactly what you should do. Works 100 times out of 100. I promise. Anyway, with that stupid remark out of the way, we have got the tracks in place. So now it is time for us to lay down the area in which the crops will grow. So we're going to need a bunch of that grass. Okay, and I think we started here, right? So we start here with the sugarcane. And then once we've laid down this layer of grass, we will need to craft ourselves a bunch of trapdoors because we are going to use that trapdoor trick that we discussed earlier. So the trapdoors will begin right there and they'll go all of the way along. And then next to that, again, we'll go with double grass and the pattern will just repeat itself all of the way to the end. A little bit of a time skip. We've progressed pretty well here. So it is time for the sugarcane to go down. But I've realized something, guys. With this trapdoor setup, I think you can actually use a much more efficient water setup than I have here. But we're not going to do that, just keeping it simple. And I actually like the way this design looks. Also, I mean, how much more efficient do we really need this farm to be? It's going to produce a lot of sugarcane and we really only need it for rockets at the moment. So I'm going to leave it as it is. But I think using this, you guys could probably figure out a more efficient water placement method. With that said, let us quickly do a test because I also think that this means that the carts will be able to pick up items that go into the water here, which means you technically don't need to put anything over the top of the water. You can just leave it as it is. I will double check that for you guys though, real quick on camera here. Okay, so our cart will go on there. We have to give it a nudge if we can. Uh-oh. Can we... Come on. I just don't want to get water everywhere. How can I do that? Ooh, this is tough. Let me grab this back for a second. recreate the cart. And maybe if we start it on a block a little bit further back, we can do something. Nope. Oh, okay. Let's try something else then. Maybe put an extra piece of track down. That should work, I hope. Like that, like that, like that. And then give it a nudge. Okay, and basically what we're looking for is this cart to come back with some sugarcane in it. And that's what I hope it does. Come on, please. This will be pretty cool if it works. And it does. Awesome. So as I say, yeah, you guys can feel free to leave the water open and not place any blocks above it if you do choose to go ahead with a design like this. But generally, when you create a design like this, you would have to put leaf blocks over the top. I'm probably going to go ahead and do it just because I like the way it looks. But we do now need to go ahead and pop our sugarcane into the farm. Wow, guys, we're very much lacking in the sugarcane department. We need this farm desperately. I could only get up to here so far. So as we harvest, we'll continue planting. And I've also realized as well that I don't think we're going to have enough slime blocks to make the entire mechanism here. But we'll try our best to get as much as we can done. So we're going to go 10 in from the left-hand side. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right here. Oh, I thought that had silk touch. Maybe not. Whoops. Anyway, then we'll have ourselves a flying machine. I'm going to try and build this from memory. I haven't built one of these in ages. Just as a disclaimer, this could be horrendously wrong. And then we have something like this and this, I think. That looks okay to me, but before I fire it, I'm actually going to go down here and put some obsidian at the other end so that we don't end up with, oh, that was neat. Little speed boost so that we don't end up with the machine just flying and flying and flying. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just build up a little pillar. How high does it need to be? That should be high enough. Okay. Let's get back over to the other side and continue the build. And I think the observers go on the, they go like this. No, they don't. They go on the, I think they go on this. So we're gonna have it something like, how was I gonna do this? I think I need to build this the other way around. Trying to think. Let me just get it set up and then we'll figure out how we're going to configure it. I think it goes something like this. So then if I was to place, nope. All right, let's just make sure we're using silk touch. Don't want to lose any blocks if I can help it. Let's try a different block, maybe this. No. Okay. I've done something wrong here. Maybe these go on top of the pistons instead. Let's try that. Could be that, I suppose. Making a bit of a meal of this. Okay, that's different. All right, let's try that instead. Okay, I think it's quite evident I've forgotten how to do this. So let me check a tutorial online, I suppose, and get this done off camera. All right then, guys, welcome back to episode 14 for the last time today. I know this one was kind of cut short here, but we're up on that 30-minute mark almost, so I've got to get things ended quickly and precisely. So I have figured it out. The observers just have to be facing upwards like so. So now whenever we hit this button here, it will trigger the trapdoor. That triggers the flying machine. Of course, we can attach some more blocks to that in order to make it wider so that it can cover the entirety of the farm. But for now, we'll just leave it as it is and we can continue work on this in another episode. So as I say, you guys, this is going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun once again building this farm, and it's going to be very useful to us. This, in combination with the mob farm that we built last episode, is going to be awesome for firework epicness. So if you did enjoy today's episode, please drop a like down below. That would be much appreciated. Any questions, suggestions, feedback down in the comments below. And of course, if this is your first time on the Hocus Pocus channel, please be sure to subscribe or consider subscribing. That will allow you to stay tuned to this series and any other videos that I decide to post. All right, guys, I hope you had a great weekend. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.